Hello, viewers. Welcome again to JAAMA FM. It's still me, Pastor Forbes. It's Sunday evening. We are live here. As I promised you yesterday when we started, that I'll be chatting with different people, interviewing people, and just warming up what we want to do until we get it right and get a playlist. But it's my privilege to have people just come and share. One of the things that's going to be notable about what we do is our desire to bring out, if you like, people from their shells and people who might be seen as unsung heroes, but they're doing wonderful things. Because you see, effectiveness is not just always notoriety. You can be effective in what is otherwise an obscure place until people come into your world and they're really, really shocked as what you have. It's like our building here. When people come here for the first time, people tell me, "Wow, is this what is here?" We didn't know. We just saw a white, big wall, big building, and sometimes you have to let it be like that. But obviously, good never hides, and because it's inspirational, it's challenging, it has a lot to do with mentorship and entrepreneurship. And somebody looks at what you do and says, "Well, I can do it too," and that's the joy of what we want. We believe that Almighty God has given everybody a gift and ability. Nobody came to this world stupid. We came with something, and education, parents, aunts, uncles, religious instructors all help mold it until we come to that personal realization of who we are, and in faith we now move on because we would have discovered who we are, we would have developed those giftings, and then we deploy them and hopefully leave a great legacy for life. I'm going to be chatting with two other people differently. I'm sure you all enjoyed Mr. Mohammed Tunkara talking about the Sarahule concept of Okara. Where is home? Is home the village for the old Sarahule man? Is home the city for his son? Is home UK or Spain or Angola or Sierra Leone for the grandchild? And some people say home is where the heart is, home is where you make it. I just don't know. But you know, in Wolof we have the idea of where they buried your Jumba. That is where home is. But, you know, for some reason, we have been called a global village. So home is everywhere. The name John Charles Njie is probably a household name in the country, certainly in civil society and government and the bilaterals and donor agencies. I don't live in his home, but I know there are times when his phone will ring at midnight because we were just on the cusp of some crisis. And I was privileged to have been co-opted in one of those times when the government and 3 years Jotna the Mbokanter, you know, and we had to come in, and thankfully with his wisdom and guidance and Tango and the bilaterals, we were able to douse the flame. John has since moved on from being the chair of Tango. It's good to know. I'm not too sure whether it's mandatory, because sometimes, you know, you can be so good that people want you to go on and on. But even me, I plan to retire as a pastor, because if we are not able to showcase a new way, we'll just be replicating what we see people walk till they die, presidents that fall down, and you know, it just becomes an embarrassment. And we can leave the stage when the ovation is loud. He has moved on, and I think he's been appointed to a commission, apart from what he's been doing at YMCA and many, many other things. He's here today with us because he wants to start a program entitled JCN, The Voice. What appropriate, what apt, because from straight talk, I don't even know how he survived that, because I used to listen to people insult them, but it was great. And I think really this is a gentleman to be honored for his selflessness for his country. My heart would always salute men and women, Gambians, who know they have the opportunity to go out and become anything that they can, and they stay, as well as Gambians who go and then they come, and then there are Gambians who go, but their hearts are at home. And everything they do, they try to facilitate things for home. So he's here, he's gone and come, he's gone, his heart is here, and we want to talk to him. and ask him a bit about the program. And his program is going to be one of the regular programs on JAAMA FM. Remember, this is a station that our logo and our motto says we want to shape minds and we want to transform lives. Our country should rise up and be the country that God intended it to be. The Gambian dream must be something we all know. John, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Pastor. Thank you for having me. And also thank you for setting up JAAMA's FM. I believe it's something that really is going to speak to the nation. And as I said in one of our chats, I pray that God gives it wings to fly across nations and touch as many lives as possible.
Yes, well, our immediate and long-term desire is to let it run 24/7, automated, so that at any time somebody is tired, somebody is hungry, somebody is depressed, somebody's mathematics is not working, the budget is not balancing, somebody has an interview, somebody is going to propose to a lady, somebody is starting a new job, warming a house, flying on, they can tune. And as I said this morning, I said in the church that I know Ethiopian Airlines now has internet, in-flight internet. I've used it before, but the technology has been there since. So I just hope that African Airlines will up their game, and so 35,000 feet in the air, you must be able to catch JAAMA FM and just enjoy your life. So John, what have you been doing these days? I know I don't hear you on Straight Talk anymore, and what's happening?
Well, I've transitioned. Because at the end of the last year, I decided that I was going to begin doing my own podcast. As you know, Straight Talk was, I was invited by Dr. Burang
to,
and then Uncle Tamu. And I took over from Dr. Burang Njie, and I held the fort for him when he left. And then I decided at the end of last year that it was time for me to transition and do my own thing. Then, you know, but before then I had some young guys I had been grooming, and I thought it was time to hand over to them. So Straight Talk still continues, and Yusuf Taylor is the one now in charge.
That's Flex.
Flex Dan, yeah. And yes, I've also moved from Tango. You've said something very key. Yes, we had a 2-year mandate that was renewable, but it was also, because of COVID and everything, we were not able to have our elections. So I did the 4-year stretch. And at the end of it all, I felt, well, we are the same people in civil society that say government should have 2 terms. And I had done 4 years, plus a little more. So I felt it was okay for me, 1, to set an example, and 2, is also because I believe it's the right thing. Thirdly, I was getting very, very overworked. Because Tango, you know, being the chair of Tango is almost like another full-time job added to my YMCA work. So I felt it was only fair. And again, we must be able to believe in other people, that they are able to continue. If not, we will be like the African presidents and say, I have to finish my mandate, or I have to finish what I started. So, I mean, now I have moved on. Yes, I have been appointed to serve in the Information Commission. Hopefully, the confirmations will be done in this sitting of the National Assembly. And we would then move and do that. Yeah.
Question I have for you, John. What if civil society had pressured you to continue as chairman?
No, there was a lot of pressure. But well before now, I think about a year ago, well, a year, I mean, I've left about a year now. But a year before leaving, I was telling everybody that I'm leaving. And the reason I was doing it is because I didn't want to get to a point that I'll be pressured to stay. Because it's what, you know, what happens to African presidents when you say you have everybody come and start begging, you know, you are the best.
Crocodile tears.
Yeah, so I always would tell them, if I say, well, you know, I will soon leave, they will say, hey, if you leave, what will happen? So I ask them, what if I die? Will civil society not continue? And that's the mentality I still hold. I cannot, nobody should think that they hold something
and
they will be there, they will indispensable. They
Wow.
would always have to leave sometimes. Yeah.
So I've always wondered when you chaired Tango, and especially when I was invited to come and get into that Mbukante that happened. And I remember, now we can talk about it because we ordered shawarmas like 11 p.m. and we're trying to write one joint communique and we're arguing over words. And and of course, I maybe this is one other time to just honor the life and the memory of the late IGP, Alhaji Mahmoud Job. He became my star.
Indeed.
Of everybody in that room,
Yeah.
he became my star, and I hope his family, and I hope the government, I hope his successor, I hope His Excellency the President, sir, would hear this from me. I saw a fine gentleman. I saw a man that loved the nation.
Yes.
I saw a man that listened to both sides. His objectivity was second to none.
Exactly.
And I remember telling myself that when the tear gas thing happened and we all had to go and try and sort it out, I promised myself if I had read anywhere that His Excellency the President had relieved Mahmoud Job of his office because of that, I would have made a placard and walked to Banjul and said, the wrong man. If you want somebody else, it is not this man. He was phenomenal. But you were in the thick of it. I remember you sat on a big chair, an executive chair, typing, and we were arguing, no, remove that word, put this word. And then when we had finished, then we invited the press.
Yeah.
And they were shocked and they all had to sit on the ground, and we now read this press release. It was amazing. And that's not the only thing you have broken.
Yeah.
How have you done that?
Well, I believe leadership is jumping and taking opportunities and also standing in the gap or resolving issues that can lead to chaos, as it were, and without excuse, without hesitation. Because what happened was there was a great tension in the country because the 3 years Jotna group had already done one protest.
I remember.
And I think it was the largest demonstration.
It was a Monday morning,
yes,
I remember.
I think it was the largest turnout we have had in the nation's history because it was almost from Sting Corner
All the way
to Denton Bridge. And it was mostly peaceful. So I believe when they now decided a month later that they were going to have another protest, and then I think the Turkish president or somebody was coming, I think the government was a bit reluctant to give them a permit. But then as civil society, we also believe that, the right of people to demonstrate peacefully is an entrenched right. I mean, the right of assembly, we should not compromise that because there is a reason why we came where we came to by 2016. Because people were silenced, the voices of people were silenced. So we came in and then decided that, look, they want to protest peacefully. They have done it before. They should have a right to protest peacefully. And on the other side, government was saying, no, they want to, occupy, because I think there was this.
There was also a counter-protest 5 years.
Yes, pro 5 years. Yeah. But then I think there was some misunderstanding, and also there were all kinds of information flying that
and
the
your
people,
phones were ringing.
Yeah, that the people wanted to occupy Sting Corner until the government comes out. But we were able to talk to both sides, and like you said, the late IGP, honestly, he's a fine gentleman, and I know he was also under pressure for security reasons and everything, but he was willing to listen. He was willing to. In fact, I remember the Friday afternoon, I called him and said, what if we can move? Well, I said to him, is it possible to move this? Would you give approval?
Yes.
1 week later. Yeah. And he said yes.
Yeah,
and for me, it was a sigh of relief because the 3 years Jotna guys were going to demonstrate with or without permit. And I think it was going to be chaotic.
I remember.
And
so I remember when your phones were ringing, this side pulling you, that side. In fact, there were 3 sides, if I remember. There was government side,
yes.
There was 3 years, and then the diplomatic community was also pulling you everywhere.
Yeah.
And
Well, I think really Well, not I think. I know one of the things that has helped me is also my faith in God, because that's always my point, my focal point in anything that I do. I can always go and ask for wisdom, ask for God's guidance and His grace to see me through. Up to today, I really don't know how we everything turned out, but we give God the glory for.
And of course, when you now got into straight talk, there was hardly a program where somebody would not call and literally tell you off.
Yeah.
But why did you continue? Is it thick skin or is it love for country?
I believe that you come to a point in life to know that you cannot please everybody. Again, you always should know that truth prevails no matter what.
That's right.
And once you stay on the side of truth, you would always be vindicated at the end of the day.
That's right.
And I always made sure that I had a clean conscience. I love my country, and I can do anything for Gambia. So no matter what people were saying, because sometimes, the good thing about it, I always say, if the people in the opposition, the people in the government are always saying you are on this side, you are on this side, then you are on the right side.
Yeah.
If everybody is saying you are on one side, then there is bias. And I always made sure my conscience was clear. I always kept objectivity. And honestly, I think it has paid off, because up to today, I can talk to all sides of the aisle.
I was going to come to that. I was just going to say that, well, let me play the opposition partner, because you organized this national dialogue, and it got to a point when His Excellency the President called you John. I was very shocked. I thought he would say Mr. Njie or Pastor Njie. He said John, and I thought that's a bit too familiar. So you and him, are you on first name basis?
First, the national dialogue was the initiative of the president. I just came in because I was also thinking, in fact, we've been talking about having a national dialogue. So I remember, so I remember calling the chief of staff and telling him, look, what can we do to support a national dialogue? He said, look, in fact, His Excellency, the president is organizing a national dialogue, civil society, we want everybody you are going to be part of it. And that's how I came part of it. Wow. And then I was also now asked to chair when the dialogue with the political parties. I believe, the little interaction I've had with the president, I think I've only met him 3 times or so. But the little interaction, I think he's a very simple man and can be he can be very friendly. So,
But he called you John.
The last time
Any envelope under the table?
No way. The last time we were at State House, he called me Charles. Because...
All right, so he's following you.
Well, the other guy that was there called me, Charles Njie, so he followed and said Charles. But
Pastor. All right, John, so you want to start something called The Voice.
Yes.
Why?
Well, like you said, I have gotten to a place where, let me say this. I was at a meeting and I met...
I hope you're not telling me legacy.
No.
Good.
I met a head of security in this country, prominent guy. He holds a very high position today. And then I sat next to him. I said, I'm John Njie. He said, oh, Mr. Njie. Yeah, I know you. And then he said, you are the voice of stability in the country. Then I looked at him again. He said, no, I'm serious. And, when you speak, all of us listen because of your neutrality, your objectivity and all that. Then I said to myself, sometimes you do things and you think nobody is listening. Somebody's insulting you. Some like it, some don't like it. So I said, yeah, maybe this is it. I have a role to play. I have remained neutral in all that has happened. And at least the respect that people have given me when I speak, they listen. Some people tell me sometimes when I speak, the hair rises and everything. But it's just because I have also gathered a lot of experience in my field dealing with young people. So I felt in 2017, as a matter of fact, I wrote a concept note for JRTS to do a program, something like what I'm coming to do, to basically to bring public officials to account to the people. And somehow, the program took another thing. I don't know whether it was pirated. They said it was not. But then they were doing a similar thing. So I said, well, no problem.
After you wrote the concept
After I wrote the concept note. So after I moved, then I joined the Straight Talk. And when this opportunity opened, I said, look, I have exactly now the platform to do what I want to do.
Right.
Yeah.
So your focus is going to be the leadership or just the common man, the young people?
Well, there are different components to Njie, the voice. The first is the voice just to encourage people. We are at a place where a lot of people are hurting, a lot of people are discouraged, a lot of people are about to give up in life.
Yeah.
So I have this 3 to 5 minute just encouraging people, maybe a morning program, maybe, to start the day, that it's not the end. So, yesterday I sat down and in 5 minutes I wrote about 20 different things that I was going to, every day come up with something just to encourage that individual, that man, that woman, not to give up, to keep pushing. Because in life, when you give up, it's finished.
That's right.
But when you keep pushing, there is hope.
There is hope.
So there is Njie, the voice of hope. And that is what it's going to do. Then there is Njie, the voice of nation building, where we will bring in different stakeholders in the country, sometimes civil society, sometimes public officials, the people in the street, just to talk about our nation. There is so much negativity about Gambia, but there are some good things that are happening in the country. How can we leverage on the positives, on the institutions that are being developed? So you will bring different organizations, different institutions, public institutions, private institutions. Good enough, I have a good rapport now with a lot of public officials, and bring them on board. Let them tell the nation what they are doing, what is working. Then we are able to build from there. Then we would also obviously critique the public institutions where they are lacking, but we want to more give solutions to the problems rather than just criticizing and saying, like some people are saying, this is a dead nation, or this is a nation, it's a nation that is destroyed. I think we should look, if a nation is destroyed, if a nation is non-existent, or whatever people want, negative connotation people want to put on it, then what about us that are here? What are we doing? Are we contributing to that, or do we want to change it? So there is the voice of nation building. And then there is Njie, the voice of peace, which, because of our diversity should not mean that we should get to a point where we are fighting each other. I could be Wolof, you are Aku, but we've been together for God knows. I mean, my Wolofness and your Aku-ness has nothing, to do with our being together and fighting for a common purpose. So we will bring people from different tribes, we will bring different religious leaders, Muslim, Christian. What are our areas? Yeah. So that's the voice of peace and social cohesion. And then we will have the voice of inspiring the youth. Now, I have worked with young people for a long time. Yes, people say a lot of negative things about young people, but I know countless young people that are doing phenomenal things in this country.
A lot of startups.
A lot of startups. So I'm going to bring them to tell their story, to encourage their peers, because if not, we will just keep having these people, the number of people moving out of the country because they think there is no hope. So if people tell their story, they should be able to inspire other young people to follow after. I mean, and then it will also be maybe in the form of a mentoring of the people.
I was just going to say, I hope you'll have that component.
Exactly. Right. So that would be the whole purpose of it, just to get the young people, so school children, the young people that are just leaving school, when you finish grade 12, what can you do? So that, we will start finding solutions rather than visiting the problems over and over. So we will have those 4 components, and we will spread it over time to see what we can do.
Well, viewers, you heard from the man himself. The president calls him John. So you heard from John. I call him PN, Pastor Njie. You heard from him, and we want to showcase more and more of this and the diversity of what we have until we are able to change the narrative and not just flow with the narrative. Somebody said a lie can easily go around the world before a truth laces its shoe. And that's true. Once people start saying things that happen, it's like gaslighting. Somebody creates a scenario a narrative that's wrong, and everybody falls for it, and the next thing it becomes normative. Well, so his program will be on JAAMA FM. The logo and the motto of our station is shaping minds and transforming lives. So I will look forward to it, and I'm just praying that when the day we hear that the embargo on terrestrial broadcasting is over, we'll apply for license so this can just be tuned into, who knows, 97 point something, which would be just an antenna with a radio, than people buying data. But buying data is good because, you know, John, somebody challenged me. I was complaining about something about video graphics that I have no clue about. And the person said to me that everything I'm doing, I learned on YouTube. I said, look, I have no time. You know what he said to me? He said, Pastor, young man, he said, listen to me. I thought, okay. He said, the internet and YouTube is the new university. And your data is your school fees. And I thought, wow, okay. And that's true. I know if I put my mind to it, I'll try and get it done. But, you know, it's just tricky, the video graphics and all that. But, yeah. And so I'm grateful that we're able to do this live, and the morning talk show, the youth, the peace building. I was eagerly trying to hear the one about making money and prosperity. But maybe we leave that for
somebody else.
Somebody else will do that. Because the bottom line of this whole thing is the Baha must be there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, John. It's a pleasure having
Thank you
here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is John Charles Njie, Pastor Njie, one of us, and the nation's property. I'm tempted to ask him, are we about to see President Njie in the making? I heard you say something. Your mom's 80th birthday.
Yeah.
Yes, I was at the event and the vice president was there.
Her 90th.
Oh, it was
90.
Oh my God.
Yes, 90.
It was 90.
Yeah.
And I heard you say in the presence of the vice president that your mother said you should never stand for politics because when they insult, they always insult the mother. They never remember the father. And Auntie Adele, thank you for that. So don't worry, he's not going anywhere. And that's true because every insult is on the mother. They were 90.
Yeah.
Wow, well, we wish her 47 more. So we go to 137, 147,
Well, when you say that, she says no, she doesn't want to be old until she's useless.
No, old,
so she wants to...
It's just in the mind. Look at us, we are 22.
Indeed.
All right, folks.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, John. So you'll hear from him, and please share this link, and we'll come out with our own unique pages on social media, and anytime you should be able to hear something we are putting out there, either live or pre-recorded on our playlist. All right, I have one more person to talk to. Today it's a sweet day. I'm learning so much, but guess what? This is going to be a lady, elegantly dressed woman, gender neutral, gender biased, gender equal, and everything. We're going to have an edge. So I don't know what we're going to do. You know, we are trying this thing out, so maybe they're going to play some music. Maybe they are going to play me eating my lunch or something. Whatever they do, we'll be back with the last person we want to share with tonight. Please do us the honors of sharing it on your different platforms, different pages, different groups.